All right, everybody. It's October now. And my Halloween shirt on actually. I damn well better have this Halloween shirt on. This cost me $40. It's the most I've ever spent on a concert shirt. But it was amazing, by the way. So it's time for pickups. Time for the September batch of pickups that I always think every month that there's going to be like nothing, and then like, you know, I keep picking up something here or there, and it's not really that expensive or anything like that, but I get to the stacks that I make getting ready at the end of the month, and I'm like, oh, okay, it's you know, it's actually a fairly decent batch of pickups. But so I'm going to start off with something actually kind of weird about this month, which is there's quite a bit of reading material in here. And it was a games pickup video and everything, but this is I have quite a bit of just books and magazines to take a look at. First of all, I have acquired 4 more. Just the backs of them, and this one I just realized this is Billy Bob's. This is Billy Bob's ad, right? Billy Bob's Hunting and Fishing ad. That's weird. It's raining, and it's like it's also getting colder finally. So this is like a new experience for me. Anyway, I got 4 Nintendo Powers that I didn't have before. I got this one. This is one of their January bonus issues here, but this is a Mario Party 2 one. It's really actually fairly thick. It's their biggest bonus issue ever. So that's a good one. That one's pretty cool. A World Driver Championship. So this is like, what is this issue? It doesn't have a number. Volume 122, the World Driver Championship. These ones were weird that I never had these ones before. There was always this big gap in November '97 with NFL Quarterback Club 1, which is Volume 102, and a couple months after that with Kobe NBA Courtside, which is number 107. So I actually only have, and this is going to kill me to not have these, but the fact is that people just keep getting for individual Nintendo Power issues, regardless of the era. But people want like double digits for one issue of Nintendo Power, regardless of what's on the cover. I keep almost buying one of the ones I need, which is a WCW World Tour one. I think it's from January '98. So that must be like, I think it's 104. Must be. I could get that right now for like $7. But the other one that's really weird is it's from like 2000. It's Army Men Air Attack 2, and I haven't seen it for less than like $12. And I'm like, fuck that. But yeah, those are the only 2 that I need though for N64 era. So that's something to keep my eye on. Pretty soon I'll have all the 64 era Nintendo Powers, which would be nice. And then I also grabbed this magazine too when I was ordering some of those Nintendo Powers. This is Q64, which is obviously an unofficial. I think was it a quarterly? Yeah, it's like a quarterly magazine, but it's an N64 dedicated magazine. It has Quest on the front, looking as good as it's ever looked. Which is still fucking terrible. For any of the graphics you see from it that are from the actual game and not the 2D drawn graphics that like the covers of the other 2 versions of it. And yeah, this is pretty cool too. I haven't really read it cover to cover or anything like that, but it's cool. I got this for like $3 from like eStarland while I was looking for guides and Nintendo Powers, and I just added this into my order. So that's cool. Always interested in more Nintendo 64 magazine stuff, particularly getting my hands on those last couple Nintendo Powers. And then there's 2 like actual real substantial books here that I picked up this month. If you go back to the one video that has actually garnered a lot of views on my YouTube channel here, my N64 Anthology video, you'll know that I very much appreciate Geeks-Line and the work that Manent puts into his books with the GameCube Anthology now. So there's been a N64 Anthology, a PlayStation one, which I'm actually very interested in, but not like PlayStation Original is not anywhere near my appreciation for GameCube, which I think might be my second favorite console. So I didn't go for like the $100 super fancy edition of this one. This is still like $65. with shipping. This is a fantastic book. I'm past the halfway point of being through it, reading cover to cover. I will read these books cover to cover. I'm serious. But they are also nice coffee table books. I'm on the O section of the library, so I'm nearing the end. And then there's just canceled games and stuff after that. I read the whole history of the console during its lifespan, its development, its everything like that. Really, really great book, as you should expect from Geeks-Line. They're really, really great. And then this one here, this was like an impulse buy. I was in Bull Moose, and they had this SNES Omnibus, and I just liked the way that it was done. So I was reading this too, but I didn't get very far because I bought it in the store like 2 days before I ended up ordering the GameCube Anthology, so I didn't get much of a chance to read. I'm only on like B, and this only goes A through M. There's going to be a Volume 2 that is going to be N through Z, of course. This doesn't have all the extra stuff, though. It's just a look at the library, but it's more of an in-depth look at the library than you get out of the Geeks-Line books, so at least there's that. I really like that they do a lot of quotes. They do a lot of magazine ads. They do a lot of talking to people who develop them and stuff. So that's, as far as like the best thing that you can do is do a book like this. I don't see a point in holding it up because it's not like you're gonna be able to read it. But yeah, I'm just like looking at it to figure out what I'm trying to say. But yeah, they do a lot of really good stuff in here. That is a lot more in-depth than you'll get out of these books, the GameCube Anthology and the other Geeks-Line books. But that's not at all a knock on the Geeks-Line books, because they're very thorough with the console as a whole. This one just looks at the library, and I'm totally into getting the Volume 2 when it comes out. So yeah, that's just a weird amount of reading material to start off this month. And then we'll move on to actual games over here in a sec. Start with two PS4 games. I haven't opened either of them. One of them I literally just bought like 2 hours ago while I was out. I had to buy a new microwave because my microwave broke. I was just like, I don't want to do this today, but I have to, actually have a microwave. So I was in Walmart. I bought a $55 microwave, and I bought Nioh because, as you can see from the sticker, this was $10. I've come to find that just Walmart can have these really, really good, your market may vary, deals just on any given day. So if you're in Walmart for any reason, it's always kind of worth going and checking. I remember a long time ago I got Terraria for Wii U when I didn't want to pay $25 for it. It was just a $13 game at like the bottom of their like dump bin, brand new sealed. So they had this. They had Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls, not the Eternal Collection, but Reaper of Souls. They had the Surge. They were all $10. A handful of just really good games for $10. So this was the one that I wanted. I've wanted it for a while now, but I never wanted to pull the trigger because it's supposed to be really, really hard. People always bring up Dark Souls with hard games nowadays, but this game actually seems to be like Dark Souls, and that's why I really, even when it went on PlayStation Hits, never wanted to pull the trigger. But for $10, I was like, okay, cool. And I don't have to have one of those weird pink cases or anything. And then the other one, this one I wanted for a long time too, but I definitely didn't want to pay the price that they had put on it when it came out, which I think was $40. But Burnout Paradise Remastered I finally picked up a couple weeks ago when it was on a sale for $15 at GameStop, I think. So I still haven't opened it. I've never beat the original, but Burnout Paradise is probably the second best game in the series after Takedown, of course, and this is something that I would really want to actually finish this game, so this will be the way I actually do it, so that'll be nice. Two PS3 games as well. Nothing too exciting, but two games that are in genres that I really like, so I figured I would just give them a try. There's one, this by a publisher that I don't trust at all, for the most part, South Peak, but they don't like consistently make like the worst garbage ever. Monster Madness Grave Danger is the type of game that I like. It's that like top-down, like roaming around sort of shooter-ish slash brawler slash hack and slash thing. Clearly inspired by Zombies Ate My Neighbors. Don't expect it to be anywhere near as brilliant as Zombies Ate My Neighbors, but it was like $5 on Declutter, so I grabbed it, of course. A good game to play this month. That's all I can say. I'm going to keep pointing that out. And then this is Conan, which I pretty much for the longest time thought was just complete garbage. Beowulf is garbage, for sure. And I always thought of these games in the same genre, same, one and the same. But I've heard some pretty decent things about this more recently, so I finally decided to pick it up. It's, it's a God of War clone. It's a pretty shameless God of War clone from what I've heard, but it's not the worst thing in the world, so I also like the type of story that Conan is, so it's definitely a cool game to pick up on the cheap. Some Xbox and Xbox 360 here. I hated myself that I even picked this up, but it was in like a 4 for $10 deal, but I could only get my hands on a disc only of it. Bloodstone 007, you've probably seen this on a million hidden gems lists now. It's supposed to be a really, really good third-person James Bond game. A lot better than some of the ones that have been coming out recently. But because nobody really trusted it, it wasn't the biggest seller. It's finally gotten a little bit cheaper, and I managed to sneak it into a 4 for $10 deal at GameStop, but I had to print my own cover for it. But it was like, you know what? I needed something to fill it out, and I've wanted to pick up this game for a while. I have too many James Bond games, because I'm not even a huge fan of the movies. I just really like GoldenEye, of course. And some other games. I played Nightfire. Nightfire's brilliant, too. So now I just keep hearing that, like, this James Bond game is good. This James Bond game is just James Bond game is good. So I just pick them all up. I never get around to playing them. But this one's supposed to be good, too. Inversion, which I have to show you the sideways, is a weird, like, kind of, from what I've heard, of pretty shameless Gears of War ripoff, but with the added, like, walking on the ceiling sort of, not parkour, because parkour would be, like, still gravity is in effect. This is all messing with gravity stuff, and it's not supposed to be amazing, but this was pretty cheap, too. This was in that 4 for $10. And it's published by Namco, so I do trust it to some degree that it's not going to be the worst thing in the world. I kind of think of it like Fuse, where I picked that up. I think it's Fuse. It's developed by Insomniac. And so, like a game that I don't think is going to be great, but you know what? It was cheap enough. It was, dirt cheap, basically. And there's some sort of brand loyalty to it. Namco is not Maximum or D3. That, like, if you don't hear that it's great, it's probably trash. And 3 original Xbox games, surprisingly enough. I didn't get a ton of games for any one system. The most games I got for any one system this month was actually PS2, and even that is only 4. This game I got on Declutter, and I'd never heard of it before, but it's published by Sega. This was like $3.50. And it's not supposed to be great. It's actually a Sammy-developed game. I forgot about that. So, yeah, it's like a brawler, shooter, fighter combo. It's got meh reviews, like on GameFAQs and stuff, but it was really cheap. I'd never heard of it, and it has Sega on the cover. So there might be some cool stuff in there. This game that I, surprisingly enough, wanted for a long time and never grabbed, but I want to, like, make sure I pick up stuff that I think I want, or tell myself that I want before I pick up random crap. So here and there, like, I wanted to pick up games like Pure Pinball that has always been a cheap game, but it seems like it's going up a little bit. It's not the greatest pinball game in the world, but it's decent. It's not a simulation of real tables. It's all original tables. There's only like 4 of them. But, yeah, I've heard it's sort of like, if you like pinball, you'll like this game, but you're not going to be blown away by it. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. And, Tork. Tork Prehistoric Punk. There are actually a surprising amount of, unsuccessful 3D platformers on the original Xbox. Specifically on the original Xbox that didn't go anywhere. That are probably okay. This being one of them. Tork is it's somewhat uncommon from what I've seen. There's this. There's a couple other ones that I actually want to get my hands on at some point. Voodoo Vince and Blinks, both are Microsoft products. This is a Ubisoft one. But yeah, this it looks pretty cool. You know, I'm always down for a 3D platformer if it's not complete garbage. So I've heard some good things about it, and it's fairly uncommon and interesting to me. So I'm into it. A couple things over here. Finally got Pokemon Pinball Ruby and Sapphire, which you can get from GameStop online for like really cheap, as long as you're getting other stuff so the shipping doesn't kill you. I think there was a weird like buy two get one that I did from GameStop online on retro stuff, and this is one of them. Pokemon Pinball is great. Ruby and Sapphire is probably even better than the original. Can't go wrong there. 2 DS games. I hate that they're both loose, but they were two things I never really see anymore. Basically, this is Meteos. I should say it's Meteos OG, because I don't know if anybody else feels this way, but I always see Meteos Disney Magic everywhere, and it's not supposed to be anywhere near as good as the original. It's supposed to be decent, but like this was one of the first like really great games for the DS, and never went anywhere except for the Disney Magic thing. And so I finally saw this somewhere. It was less than $5. I was like, yeah, give me the Meteos. And having this Disney Magic crap for years now, just only ever seeing that version. And this is a really weird one I didn't even know existed until I saw it. This is River City Soccer Hooligans. Even though I have not played or gotten around to playing like any of them, I do love the Kunio-kun stuff, the River City series games that come out over here. And so this is kind of like an updated version of what we got as Nintendo World Cup on the NES, and this is a DS one. So I now have the Dodgeball one on the DS, I have the Track and Field style Sports Challenge one, and I have the soccer one, and I should play them. But I've never seen this game before. I didn't know it existed until I saw it in person, so that was pretty cool. So I was thinking about this today. I grabbed this today because I saw it for $3. And I was like, if you tell someone that you spent $3 on a Super Nintendo game that is worth about $3, this is probably the most exciting you can get with it, is Beethoven. And it's not good. It's a pile of hot garbage. I've only seen once before and tried, and it was terrible. But it's fucking Beethoven. The ultimate canine caper on Super Nintendo. It's in fantastic shape, too. But basically my point is it's a Beethoven game, the dog. And basically my question is, it's by High Tech Expressions. Has anybody ever played a good High Tech Expressions game? I've seen it now they made so many games. And I can't think of any of them that might be good. Maybe a Tom and Jerry game somewhere in there, but seriously, tell me if there are any good high-tech expression games at all. They even managed to make a crappy Mickey Mouse game when the Mickey Mouse games were good. So yeah, seriously, tell me if you know any of them that are any good, because this is not good. I have a Dreamcast game here. This was another one of those that I got from the GameStop online. Oh, this is right here. There's the other one. I was like, where's the other one? One Genesis game this month. But anyways, Dreamcast game. I was not hoping that this would come with the case, because I just can't expect it. So I was really, really surprised that I got a case with it. Very pleasantly surprised. It's Outrigger for the Dreamcast, and this is a really, really solid Sega-developed, Sega-published first-person shooter on the Dreamcast that never went anywhere because it was a fairly late Dreamcast release, I think. It probably says 2000 or 2001. 2001 Dreamcast release, but I really, the Dreamcast is not made for first-person shooters, even though it has a couple. This is easily the best one on the Dreamcast, because Sega did it and knew what they were doing with themselves. So if you ever see this out anywhere, I highly recommend it, because I played it once or twice, and I wanted it for a long time since then. I finally managed to grab it. GameStop had it listed for $10, and I was like, I'll get that disc only for $10. because it goes for a lot more than that. And this was the other one I got from GameStop online. It was $4.99, and it's actually been going up a lot lately. This is the original X-Men game for Genesis. So I've had X-Men 2 for forever, it seems like. And I always wanted to grab this, and I just never did. And it kept going up, and it kept going up. It's like a $10 to $15 game now, and I feel stupid. So now I never bought it. But yeah, GameStop had it for $5. The really, really interesting thing about this game, if you've never heard it before, I might be telling you something you've heard a million times, but I find it super interesting about this game is when you play the last level, it's all based on like virtual reality, it was a very 90s thing to do. And the game tells you have to reset the computer. Resetting the computer means resetting the Genesis with the soft reset button. So if you ever play this game and it tells you to do that, that's what you're supposed to do. You beat the game, the last thing you do is you have to press the soft reset button on the Genesis and then you finish it. Which is brilliant and insane to me, and I love that. But it's supposed to be a solid side scroller too. That alone makes it worth getting. 2 Switch games. Really waiting on a lot of Switch stuff, including this Friday's Super Mario Party. Cannot wait for that. I've been getting super excited over that. I even wanted to buy Mario Party Star Rush, and I didn't because I figured I was going to be disappointed in it, and I would just kind of kill my excitement for Super Mario Party. I'm so excited for Super Mario Party. It looks fantastic. But we had 2 Switch games right here. I haven't played either of them yet, unfortunately. The first is a limited run. I got Slime Sand, finally. I'm still waiting on them to return to the sender and reroute my Mercenary Kings that I ordered like a couple months ago. And of course, they didn't deliver it to my parents' house, even though my parents would have easily accepted my limited run game. But I did get Slime Sand, which is a kind of an old school retro style platformer. Super into that. Also looks adorable. I have not really seen a lot behind it. I just know it's supposed to be really good and it looks great. So I want to play this sometime soon, but Mario Party is going to throw a wrench in that one for sure. And Wild Guns Reloaded. This is basically just me saying, fuck it. I want this game on Switch. So I got rid of my PS4 copy and got the Switch copy. And this game's hard, but it is a great way to play a game that is prohibitively expensive to own on the Super Nintendo, because the original Wild Guns is like a $200 at the very minimum. More realistically, like a $300, $250 to $300, I think. Game on the Super Nintendo, or you can buy it on the Wii U shop if you can still do that for like $10, which I had done previously. $8, $10, $8. So yeah, really good game, really hard game, shooting gallery style, kind of like Cabal or NAM 1975. But yeah, you can get it on Switch for $30 new and probably $20 now on PS4. So that's cool. One Wii game. So of course I don't own any Ace Combat games, but this game is weirdly interesting to me, so I grabbed it for like $8. On Declutter. It's the Skycrawlers Innocent Aces, powered by Project Aces. I think this is based on actually like an anime film series or something like that. But it's basically control-wise and gameplay-wise, it's Ace Combat in World War II. So now that it says World War II, I'm like, oh, I want this now. And it's on the Wii, but you can use all the classic controllers. You could use a GameCube controller if I wasn't playing it on the Wii U. It's supposed to be really good because it's basically Ace Combat. And it's made by the Ace Combat people, basically. So that's cool. And then finally, some PS2 games, like I said. Quake III Revolution. Quake 3 and a lot of the versions of it and a lot of games that came out at that time are really weird to me because they're the old school type of multiplayer-friendly first-person shooter. This is the quintessential. It was based on Quake 3 Arena, so you can just guess by Quake 3 Arena that it's a multiplayer-style focus game. Unreal Tournament, which I think I have on Dreamcast, is almost the same type of game. But I just grabbed this for a couple bucks today. And yeah, it's pretty cool. So I think I actually have. That means I have all 4 main series Quake games now, in some form. Quake and Quake 2 on 64, Quake 3 Revolution on PS2, and of course Quake 4 on 360. So that's good. Freaky Flyers, which is a really goofy plane flying racing game, which there are a surprising amount of. You wouldn't think that, but there's a lot of racing games that use planes. I basically bought this because the character design looks ridiculous. I had held out on it for a long time because I wanted it on GameCube, which is weirdly enough a 2-disc game on GameCube. But I was like, I think it was like $4 on Declutter, and I was like, you know what, just give me this stupid PS2 one. I'm done waiting for it on GameCube. Another game that, like pure pinball, I'd actually really wanted for a long time. This is Primal. It's based on GameFAQs scores and everything. This game seems to be enjoying kind of a rebirth on the PS4 digital download version. But it's a Sony first-party adventure game that reminds me a lot of Beyond Good and Evil, based on just the character design and the tone and the atmosphere and stuff. But has supposed to have really good combat, which Beyond Good and Evil does not, for the record. Which is why I still haven't finished it. But yeah, this is a good game, and I think people are catching on to that. So I grabbed it while I could still get it for $6, which is a lot more than I thought I would ever pay for it when I first heard of the game. And I'm gonna kind of end this on a down note because this made me really mad. This is another game I got on Declutter for like $4.50, and it's Sopranos Road to Respect. This is not a good game, and I didn't ever want to buy it, but I saw a couple weeks ago the limited edition of this game, which I didn't know existed, and I thought it looked really cool. It had a slipcover on it and everything. It's a limited edition. I was like, oh, that's awesome. So, you know, I like The Sopranos. I just heard this game was bad, and I was like, okay, I don't ever want it then. And then I saw that, and I was like, I want that. I want that limited edition. So it comes with a bonus DVD and everything, but there's no slipcover on the game. On the outer cover, this is the same cover as the regular version. So when they sent it to me and it didn't have a slipcover, which of course always gets lost on every game ever, I was so upset. I was like, this loses all the shelf appeal for me because I have Sopranos Road to Respect limited edition, but you wouldn't know by looking at it. It has the DVD. It has the little book with the character info on it that says who everybody is. That says limited edition on it. It has this poster. So that's great. I just don't want to play the game. I want to look at it and be like, that's the limited edition, cool looking Sopranos Road to Respect, which is a huge bummer. It's lost all its shelf appeal. I didn't expect it to have the slipcover. I just forgot. I didn't realize that the inside without the slipcover is the same. It doesn't say limited edition on it anywhere. I'm so mad about that. I ended on just a really down note now. But this is a weird month, and I got cool stuff. I got cool stuff that I wanted. I got all this reading material. I got books, great books. And damn, yeah. So towards the end of the year coming up, there's going to be a lot of Switch games coming out. Very excited about all that. So those will make for some cool pickups videos for sure. Sorry I got so mad at the end. Because I keep looking at that and I'm like, God damn it. I'm so mad that came with no slipcover and doesn't say limited edition on it. But yeah. Cool, thank you for watching. I have to do Wipeout 64. I'm just literally gonna move over to the couch, do a Wipeout 64 video, and be able to move on that. So, thank you for watching this. See you in a few minutes.